sexual violence, mostly it has been seen that the survivors are in their reproductive age group, and the shelter homes for the survivors in that way has to be inclusive of children as well, as a lot of survivors come along with their children who are in different developmental stages at that point of time. And even when we look into gender sexual violence, one of the gender sexual violence, for example, if I take domestic violence, there's some sense of not acknowledging the fact that even the child is a victim, and even the child has also survived along with the mother and has taken shelter along with the mother. So it is very much important. It is equally important to make the child also feel physically, emotionally, and mentally safe in that space. Because for the child the space would be unfamiliar. A lot of other impacts of domestic violence might also root up. Of witnessing violence at home might also root up when they suddenly get exposed to a new population, to a new space. So it is equally important for shelter homes for women in distress to also be inclusive of children. And when we talk about how do we make shelter homes for women in distress child inclusive, it can be as small as it can be as small as like setting up the water purifier at a length which is like at a neutral length which is accessible to children as well as adults. These are small little things which can be done, setting up swings, setting up a play area for children in their when they are not engaged into any activities or any other things. Then they have a space for themselves to go and play and learn through play, because for them play is the only way how they can develop and heal from whatever they have witnessed or whatever they are still not able to express. In that way I feel a lot of shelter homes can actually be child inclusive. There are so many activities, there are so many events that happen in shelter homes. So always while planning, keeping the perspective of the children also, that we keep some activities for the children. There are a lot of sessions and activities happening with survivors. So if one of the survivors or 2-3 survivors are mothers, then there has to be separate planning for the children for that period of time as well, and they shouldn't be left out so that they do not create a chaos during the session or during the activity. But there should be a proper planning for children as well. So I feel that in that way we can make shelter homes for women also inclusive of children, and it has to be a space where while planning, even if a day's routine is being planned, a child is being kept in mind. Children are also kept in mind, and that should be non-negotiable. So in Shakti Shalini, the Child Protection Unit is specifically working with children of survivors, and we are working phase-wise. So we are working with children who are living in our Pehchan home along with their mothers. Then we are also working with children in the communities जिनके घरों में domestic violence है. हमारा अप्रोच, हमारा जो फिलॉसफी एंड फाउंडेशनल फिलॉसफी जो है, दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन ट्रॉमा इन्फॉर्म्ड केयर एंड रेस्टोरेटिव प्रैक्टिसेस एंड रेस्टोरेटिव प्रिंसिपल्स एंड ट्रॉमा इन्फॉर्म्ड प्रिंसिपल्स के साथ ही हम मतलब अपना काम करते हैं. एंड जो ये 2 ग्रुप्स जो अभी हम काम कर रहे हैं जिनके साथ, उनके साथ दोनों के साथ अलग अलग अप्रोच होता है. हमारा जो पहचान पहचान होम के बच्चों के साथ जो हमारा अप्रोच होता है वो हमारा साइको सोशियो एंड इमोशनल सेशंस के थ्रू होता है, जहाँ पर हम इंडिविजुअल एज वेल एज जॉइंट सेशंस करते हैं केयर गिवर एंड चाइल्ड के साथ। एंड जो कम्युनिटी में हमारा हो रहा है वहाँ पर एक तो हमारा वॉलंटियर लेड प्ले सेशंस होता है, पर्पसफुल प्ले सेशंस, एंड नाउ वी आर स्टार्टिंग ऑफ विथ restorative circles with 10 adolescent boys in the communities जिनको हमने अपने CPU के ही रिसर्च से आइडेंटिफाई हमने किया था। तो therein we are focusing on their socio emotional learning। तो वो पूरा जो restorative circle का जो पर्पस है वो पूरा उसी पे ही फोकस करेगा, of them being more aware of their selves, self awareness पे, self regulation पे, accountability पे, sensitivity पे, and further the further goal is that through these circles, through these emotional socio emotional learning, they themselves can change narratives। सो ये दो अप्रोच है, दो डिफरेंट अप्रोच है जो दो डिफरेंट ग्रुप्स के साथ हमारा होता है। एंड अगर मैं थोड़ा सा इस तरीके से बताना चाहूँ कि कैसे हम ट्रॉमा इन्फॉर्म्ड केयर हम किस तरीके से इंक्लूड करते हैं। सो हमारा एक प्रोसेस होता है, इनटेक प्रोसेस होता है, और इनटेक के टाइम पे हम बेसिक डिटेल्स लेते हैं और एक सेफ्टी असेसमेंट करते हैं। सेफ्टी असेसमेंट इसलिए करते हैं बिकॉज सर्वाइवर्स हैं जेंडर सेक्सुअल वायलेंस के, एंड सेफ्टी सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज हो सकते हैं। सो वी फर्स्ट डू अ सेफ्टी असेसमेंट एंड देन फर्दर प्लान द इंटरवेंशन, एंड उसके बाद हम एक डिटेल्ड असेसमेंट करते हैं। डिटेल्ड असेसमेंट में अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स कम अप, लाइक बर्थ हिस्ट्री टू वायलेंस हिस्ट्री टू एवरीथिंग, फिजिकल हेल्थ हिस्ट्री, मेंटल हेल्थ हिस्ट्री, सारा कुछ हम एसेस करते हैं थ्रू आउट द प्रोसेस, थ्रू आउट द सेशंस ऑफ वर्किंग विद द चाइल्ड एंड द केयर गिवर। एंड उसी दौरान हमारा साथ ही साथ ट्रीटमेंट प्लान और स्ट्रेटेजी हमारा नीड एंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द केस के साथ साथ हमारा बनता रहता है। नाउ what happens is that कि जो पेरेंट केयर गिवर के साथ और जो बच्चे के साथ हमारा काम रहता है वो मोस्टली केयर गिवर एंड बच्चे का जो सोशल रिलेशनशिप है उसको स्ट्रेंथन करने में हम लोग काम करते हैं, सो दैट दे फाइंड सपोर्ट सिस्टम्स इन ईच अदर। जो रिमेनिंग केयर गिवर होते हैं, वी ऑल्सो लुक इन टू द फैक्ट दैट if there is any possibility of through our assessment we see that what are the other positive support systems in the family or in the extended family, and we also see that if there is any possibility of any dialogue or conversation, so we also initiate that, which might help in the development and the healing of the caregiver who is a survivor as well as the child. Now if I talk about trauma informed care, how we do it is that we first recognize the trauma responses. We first recognize the signs of trauma in the child, and then we also, along with identifying, we are also kind of acknowledging the impact of trauma, and that is how we then identify paths to somewhere address the effects of trauma, and then further curb the possibilities of re-traumatizing. So in this lens, what we do is that we also have a component wherein we are also trying to build the Shakti Shalini space more child sensitive and child inclusive, wherein we all team members sit together, and this component is called co-creating safe spaces for children. So we together sit down and we do have sessions on different different aspects of working with children of survivors and what are the challenges that they face, and so that we kind of build the sensitivity around the cause. Similarly, we also do sessions with the residents in Pehchan homes, so that a kind of an holistic safe environment is formed around the child and as well as the caregiver. And when it comes to restorative principles, we kind of look into the fact that we believe that every child inherently has the capacity of coming out of any violent environment, or even break the cycle that has been going on for generation to generation in the family. So that is where we are trying to channelize कि किस तरीके से मतलब जो फैमिली का नॉर्मलसी है, जो फैमिली का एक हेल्दी फैमिली कम्युनिकेशन है, वो रिस्टोर हो सकता है. So yeah, that is basically what our approach and our philosophy is.